Hi guys, so today we are going to start with the develop module of Lightroom, and more specifically I wanted to talk a little bit about the histogram. A histogram is the most commonly used graph to show frequency distributions, and a frequency distribution shows how often each different value in a set of data occurs. But what kind of data are we talking about? In photography, we like to talk about pixels a lot because they are the smallest controllable elements of a photo. So it would be useful to know, for example, if some pixels in your picture are either too bright or too dark, that they are now not showing any more detail of the picture and the actual scene, but are just showing the white only or the black only color. So the question is, can you tell by looking at the pictures if you have too dark or too white spots in your image? The answer is yes and no. Sometimes you can, but mostly you can't, because the screens behind of your camera or your computer, they're all different and they don't show the detail that clearly. So there is a scientific way to organize the data of the brightness of each pixel into a diagram, and that's the histogram. Now, after opening Lightroom and going to the develop module, we can see in the top right corner of the screen this diagram here, and that is the histogram. If it's hidden, then just click on this little triangle to show it. Right now this histogram is showing the brightness levels of this picture that I have selected here, and in order to explain what this actually means, we are going to need to start with the horizontal axis. And by looking at that, we have the black color on the left. Then with each unit that we go to the right, the brightness goes up until we reach the white color on the right side. So every pixel which is in the spectrum between the black and the white is visible and contains information, while every pixel which is outside of these two borders is now either completely black or completely white and has lost the details. The vertical axis, on the other hand, just shows the number of pixels with a certain level of brightness, thus their frequency. So if you have a vertical spike that goes, like in this case here, that goes beyond the chart, then it just means that there are too many pixels with this brightness level for the chart to show. So their frequency is high, but they still have the details preserved in them. The problem, remember, only occurs if the pixels go beyond the right and the left borders. So let me just describe this picture right here. You can see that we have a spike here on the highlights, and that is obviously because we have too many bright colors in this entire image, and you would expect exactly to have too many pixels which are on the highlights and which are bright. We also have some dark ones like this tree and this horse right here, and some dark spots, so they are shown in this little spike right here, and then everything else is somewhere in the mid-tones. Let me just quickly demonstrate you how changing the brightness level of this picture can affect the histogram. So if I go right here to the basics and choose to increase the exposure, if you look at the picture, it will get brighter and brighter and brighter, and the histogram is also moving to the right until there comes a point when the pixels just go beyond on the right side, and it means that there's no more detail there, and you can see it clearly that those white spots, you can see there anything anymore. And the same things works on the other side. For example, if I grab the black colors here and then take them down, then by looking here you can see how these pixels then just tend to go to the left beyond the chart, which means that they no longer contain the details. So if I zoom here quickly, then you can see in real time how their details are lost and are now just black colors, and how that is shown in the histogram as well. So if I take it to normal again, then you can see the details here better, and that's the same thing represented in the histogram. So to close this video, I'd like to remind you once again that the histogram is a very powerful tool to balance the brightness in your photo, and that you should always try to keep the pixels away from the left and the right borders of the histogram in order to preserve the detail in your photo and to have a more pleasing atmosphere presented in it. My tip would be to try to use the histogram directly in your camera when you are on the scene taking those photos. And you can do that, for example, by pressing display on your Canon until the histogram shows up. Because I can tell you from experience that it's better to spend some more time and maybe take a photo twice than to go home and realize that your only photo is unusable. Peace.